Hello and welcome to Resident Evil 4 2023. My guess is you've already heard a lot about this game already, so I'll try to cut right to the chase. I spent over 100 hours on 3 playthroughs of the story, as well as the recently added Mercenaries mode. After all my experiences, I bring you this video. Right off the bat, I want to tell you that Resident Evil 4 Remake is good. In fact, it's an outstanding game that is definitely worth your time and attention. In this video, I'll be showing some late game footage, and I intend on talking about the game sort of sporadically, so this is the first spoiler warning. Anyways, my name is Pinello, and I cannot tell you how much I love Resident Evil 4 Original. It was my introduction to the series, and it has always captivated me with its unique blend of action and horror. I'll be honest, I had some pretty high expectations going into the remake, and I was actually ready to be disappointed. Even though Capcom exceeded my expectations with RE2 Remake, the RE3 Remake was disappointing for a couple of key reasons. And my fear was that RE4 Remake would somehow suffer a similar fate. The problem I have with RE3 is that the game feels massively shaved and condensed compared to the original, where events would happen rapidly and certain beloved aspects would just come and go in a flash. For me, it just didn't feel like it lived up to the incredibly high standards set by RE2, which somehow managed to convert the old game into a modern third-person survival horror without sacrificing too much of the length or depth of the original. I can respect RE3 Remake for what it is, but I think I'll always feel like it wasted a lot of potential. Well, I can happily report that RE4 Remake absolutely lives up to the original by enhancing and expanding on its best qualities. This game blends the old Resident Evil 4 into the beautiful and horrifying RE engine to create something equally new and nostalgic. Right off the bat, the greatest improvements in my eyes were focused on combat, exploration, and presentation. Over-the-shoulder aiming returns, and Leon will be able to move and shoot this time around. The levels have been expanded and new side quests are included as well. RE4 Remake has to be the best looking Resident Evil ever in my opinion, and Sad Boy Leon steals the show constantly. He's packing Marvin's RPD knife from RE2, which he can use in several new ways like deflecting attacks from enemies. The knife is also used in escaping grabs, finishing downed enemies, and even stealth assassinations. Yeah, you heard me right, I just said stealth kills. So the old game kind of flirted with some stealthy themes, but there was never a legitimate way to do anything sneaky. It was simply the illusion of stealth. In this game, Leon can enter a stealthy crouch at the press of a button whenever the player finds an opportunity to take down unexpected ganados. With this new feature, you'll find completely new ways to approach Resident Evil 4. Considering all the power your knife has now, you'll have to make sure to maintain its durability. Pretty much everything you do with the knife will cause it to degrade by various levels. Escaping a grab is devastating for the sidearm, whereas an undetected stealth kill will barely decrease its durability. This means optimizing your usage so you don't walk around with a broken knife. On hardcore and professional, you'll truly learn to appreciate the one-hit kill because the zombies are tough as nails on the harder difficulties. They just stand there and take 2 or 3 shots before you can even attempt a melee attack. And I gotta say that fighting feels much more intense, as the ganados are faster and smarter than they used to be. Only a few of the guns can use the traditional laser sight, with the rest using the reticle system from Resident Evil 2. This means that the guns are much harder to control, so you have to be much more careful with your shots. I'd say that in this remake, Capcom was able to find a new balance and rhythm for the combat that feels even more frantic and engaging than the original. The enemies attack you relentlessly, and you can actually fight back with the new parry and counter mechanic. I'll admit, the old game never felt this fluid, fast, or fun. You might be wondering to yourself how much of the original game made its way into the remake anyway, and to my surprise, a whole lot actually did. From beginning to end, my mind was blown by Capcom's ability to incorporate old levels and designs into the remake simply by remixing them. Think Resident Evil Remake on the GameCube. Even though it's not a perfect one-to-one recreation, you'll almost always recognize the conversion from old to new. For example, in the beginning of the game, Leon is imprisoned in an abandoned factory. This section of the game functions as a seamless tutorial, and observant fans of the original will quickly realize that this level is almost identical to the old one, except played in reverse. If you can remember the layout of the original, you'll experience something like deja vu throughout the entire remake. It's honestly impressive and sometimes uncanny at the same time. I also couldn't believe that an early boss fight was remade to be nearly identical to the old game. Del Lago is the mutated salamander who lives below the lake in the village. You encounter this boss at the end of Chapter 3 in the remake after filling a boat with gas and setting out across the water. The problem is when Leon stalls out and then Del Lago tries to eat you. Thankfully, he doesn't eat Leon, but he gets caught on your boat, and that's when the fight starts. The way it works is you're pretty defenseless in your boat, but you're able to throw a bottomless pile of spears at Del Lago. And I can't stress enough how identical this is to the original fight. Truly, I was kind of shocked that this fight went unchanged. I actually don't really care for the Del Lago fight in the original, and I can't say it does anything special or different in the remake. It could just be me, but I was really hoping that the fight would stay, only we could have something like the ability to drive and shoot freely from our own weapons, instead of throwing those whack harpoons. What we get though is almost indistinguishable from the old version, and I'm seriously conflicted about it. While I would be disappointed if it wasn't included at all, I still wish it was updated somehow to make it more enjoyable. Take the shooting range, for instance. It came back from the original as well, but it was improved in almost every single aspect. I love the exciting soundtrack and goofy pirate theming. It honestly feels like playing a carnival game. The sets have been given challenges and optional goals, which award you with tokens that can be used to earn new charms. Charms are just like the figures from the original, except that now you can equip them on your inventory for bonus effects and perks. The old shooting range honestly felt random and super easy to miss, but in this game it's available sooner and you can play it more frequently. The charms alone are a great incentive to play, but I also found it useful for learning the recoil of a new gun. All in all, it was a really fun side attraction. Next, I'm going to show you a section from later in the game that ended up being changed quite a bit. So you remember the railcar chapter in the original? You know, the one where you used to be able to walk, jump around into adjacent cars, and fight ganados using your guns? See, I don't personally enjoy turret sections, and I was happy that you had some freedom of movement and combat in the original. Well, in Remake, it's a turret section. Don't get me wrong, I'm glad that we spend more time alongside Luis. It's just unfortunate that, from my perspective, it doesn't make up for the fact that a perfectly functional piece of the original was transformed into a mindless turret section. It sure is exciting on a first playthrough, and maybe it's just me again, but replaying this part a second and third time made me realize I just don't like it. Thankfully, the merchant and his shop returned from the original, and he's still as amazing as ever. Along with his charming and mysterious personality, you'll always find the merchant with weapons and items for sale. Just like before, this man is your capitalist companion from start to finish, and you can always buy, sell, tune up weapons, or trade the spinels you earn from requests. The new side content is called requests, which are given out and redeemed by the merchant. They can range from things like shooting down medallions, exterminating pests, or hunting down legendary animals and strong enemies. The rewards for completing requests are optional, yet legitimately compelling, even if you intended on avoiding the optional contracts. You can expect weapon attachments, various treasures, and upgrade materials for the player and guns. I'd say that I thoroughly enjoyed the RE4 Remake, even when it didn't live up to all of my expectations. Capcom devs have taken something amazing and masterfully refreshed it in almost every way. If you ever go back and watch my video about the original Resident Evil 4, I would say almost every last thing I remark on is enhanced in the remake. From gameplay to atmosphere, the remake just shines in every way. Though there are absolutely bits and pieces from the old game that didn't make it into the new one, it never feels like something major is missing. This game is Resident Evil 4 through and through, and at least for me, it fulfilled almost everything I hoped it would. A big surprise to me was that the game didn't ship with the Mercenaries mode. We had to wait 2 whole weeks to receive the minigame as an update. It was fucking worth the wait because it's actually damn good. Now I had 2 opposing expectations going in. I thought to myself, I bet they are going to preserve the original minigame and deliver something hyper accurate to the old version. Or they're going to do something completely different like the Mercenaries in RE Village. I guess I could be partially correct because the Mercenaries of Remake is extremely reminiscent of the original. I was just so happy to see the classic format return that I was hardly paying attention to my first couple of games and literally just having fun. The goal in Mercenaries is to kill as many enemies and form the largest combo that you can within a time limit. First, you select the map/arena, which will affect the variety of enemies you face. Next, you select a character based on the weapons and mayhem ability you wish to use. When you enter a map, you'll notice that items and bonuses are randomized between games. Bonuses are colored collectibles which increase your time, the green crystals, or fill up your mayhem gauge, the yellow crystals. The mayhem gauge is a brand new feature where each character has a unique ability that is charged by surviving and killing enemies. When a gauge is full, you can activate Mayhem Mode, which will last until the gauge empties. Each character has a unique Mayhem Mode. Leon will get faster movement, shooting, and increased damage. Luis gets faster movement, stronger shooting, but he can especially place bundles of dynamite. Plant these on groups or right at your feet and shoot them because Luis actually takes 0 damage from his own ability. Krauser keeps his arm mutation from the original, except it's more capable in this version. While mutated, Krauser can walk around and attack with basic melee combos, or use the classic Stinger attack from the old game. The last character, Hunk, has the power of infinite ammo during his Mayhem mode. The power of his weapon is also increased and the exclusive upgrade is applied, allowing your shots to penetrate through 5 targets. In the old games, you used to be given a fixed time bonus for melee kills, but in the remake, the time bonus mechanic has been overhauled entirely. A whole range of actions can earn you time bonuses like headshots, melee kills, and explosions. Mayhem Mode will allow you to earn bonuses from each kill, and mini-bosses like the Chainsaw Guy award you with the large time bonus. You can increase the amount of time you receive based on the amount of kills you achieve. What I mean is, the bonus rate increases by 1/10 according to each milestone, so the same actions will always award time, but the amount of time will increase the further you make it and the more kills you get. For me, these changes were exciting to learn and get good at. The combat fits this side mode perfectly, and I'm so glad it made its way into the final game. I'll admit I got a lot of RE6 vibes from the action and the spectacle. It was fast and a blast. I'd be really happy to see Mercenaries get more content like new maps and characters. If Capcom has any substantial post-release content, my fingers are crossed for more Mercenaries. Basically, RE4 Remake is so good, it might even be pure gold to me. I wish I could articulate in greater detail just how successful this game is at being totally new yet simultaneously capturing the heart and soul of the original. The way I see it, this remake exceeds the highest standards of the OG, and I was pleasantly surprised to learn that my favorite game from the series had room to get even better. Let me know what you think of Resident Evil 4 Remake. Was it everything you hoped for? Were your remake dreams crushed? I want to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly in the comments. Consider subscribing so you don't miss out on my next video. Thank you so much for watching. My name's Panillo, and I appreciate you. See ya!